uh, I have around 5 years of experience in testing domain, and basically I have worked on different automation tools, and I have good experience and knowledge about QTP, Selenium, Telric, and few other automation tools. I'm currently working as an automation engineer in one of the IT companies right now. So yeah, that is about myself. So coming to the current agenda, so we are here to have an introduction about QTP and just to have a basic idea about what does QTP exactly does. So let me just go through the course content which we would be covering in the coming sessions. So this would be the course content which we would be covering in the coming sessions. So this would be approximately, this complete QTP training would be taking around 30 days. So, and these are the topics that we are going to cover in those sessions. So first we would be starting with the introduction to automation, like why do we actually require an automation, what does it do, how does it enhance your quality of testing, and all those aspects. Then followed by that, what are the various automation tools that are available in the market, and how are they applicable to various types of testing that we do on a particular product. Then we have an introduction about QTP, just have an overview and also the history of QTP, how it has actually evolved. Then we would be actually going into the QTP window and see how the QTP looks, what are the different menus or the different panes that are available in QTP. Then going ahead, we will just record a simple script, playback. We just play around with the script, add few steps in it, delete few steps, and just see how does it work. The recording is also has multiple levels, so we will be going through all of them. Then QTP also allows you to do some scripting, so where the actual tester can write his or her own code instead of using the recorded options. So that is what we call in use of VB scripts. Then, so this is all about development. But how does QTP actually interact with the application and the test? That we cover under object identification. How does it identifies the object? What are the different levels? QTP actually has multiple levels of identification, so we would be going about each of them in detail. Then we have the concept of object repository. So where does all the objects that we record get stored? So that is what we call as object repository. Object repository are also of two types, which we would be covering during the session. So once we have all this, we would be looking into scripting. Like there is also a possibility that you want to create an object dynamically during runtime. So that part and many other aspects like interacting with Excel or your Outlook for sending a mail, everything we will be covering in scripting part. Then so you also have few of the VB script methods that you want to be used apart from the default ones. Like QTP also provides few VB script methods that are built in. We would be looking into that. So then we go to recording mode. So as I said, you have multiple levels of recording. So we would be looking at each one of them. Then we also have a concept of virtual objects. So virtual objects allows you to create your own object if you are unable to identify that particular element by using any of the object identification mechanisms. So if there are any, say, custom properties or custom objects which are not supported and you need to have something out of the box to work on it, then you can use virtual objects. Then we would see what are the run modes, what are the different types of run modes in QTP, then executing it in a batch using the test batch runner. Then how do you synchronize the actual execution with the objects, say if the pages is loading slowly or whatever. How do you synchronize your test with the application and the test? So that is what we see in synchronization. Then you have actions. So your test script could be divided into multiple actions. You have a reusable action and an action associated directly with the test script. So we would be looking everything, all of them. Then you have loopings. So inside loop, as if you have loop, you have exit statements. So we can also have a look at that. Then moving on, you have so how do you know whether your test is passed or failed? So you come to know when you only see the reports. So QTP has some built-in reports, so we would be having a look at it. Followed by that, you have error handling. So in case something goes wrong, what do you want to do, whether you want to log or do some other action, all that we would be covering into that. Following on, we can also have a look at parameterization. So you can have different sets of data. You want to execute the tests using that sets of data. You do not want to hard code anything, parameterize everything. So parameterization can be done using data tables, which are nothing but a spreadsheet kind of a thing provided by QTP by default. So you have multiple data tables available. Then what are the methods provided by for the data table? How do you retrieve a value from data table? How do you set, do operations on data table? Everything we would be covering. Then moving on, so all this we would be actually doing for data-driven testing. So that is how you actually manipulate and work on the data. So you can divide your test into multiple transactions, where you can say if you are performing a set of actions and you want to coordinate them as a transaction. So you can also do that. So we will be having a look at that in detail in the future sessions. Then you have function libraries. Say everything you do not want to write in your test, you want to divide them into multiple functions, and you want to have some kind of a reusability. Of course, everyone wants to have some kind of libraries. Then how do you do that? So you can write the libraries using QTP editor itself and develop the reusable actions, and you can have a call of that from your test scripts. So that is what we will be looking at. Then during your development, you want to debug the test. That is also possible. Descriptive programming is again a very interesting topic, where everything say a tester who has good, I won't say good, at least a decent amount of knowledge about VBScript, he would be really liking this concept called descriptive programming, where you can write everything by yourself without recording anything. You can add the objects, do actions over the objects, everything. And then you have the regular expressions, which is as you know, you would be knowing the regular expressions where you use and all. The recurring scenarios in case a test fails completely, what you want to do, if there is any unexpected pop-ups or anything, what you want to do, all those. Then we can also have a look at database automation, where you can fetch the details from backend, do some validations. Then we would also be seeing how can we develop frameworks using QTP. There are very good frameworks that we can develop using QTP, as this is one of the best tools that supports development of QTP, not only test automation, so beg your pardon, not only test automation, you can develop very good frameworks using this tool. Then you have checkpoints, where if you want to do some kind of a small verification, like whether this you have logged in, you are able to see the home page or not, whether you are able to see a particular text after doing some submit action, all those things could be validated using checkpoints. Then output values, you can retrieve the output, you can store it in data tables, all that we can do. Then you have COM technology. So you can do some Windows native level operations, like connecting to Excel, or you can do say connecting to an Outlook to send an email. All those operations you can do using the COM technology. Then this is QTP. So QTP by default provides you connection to QC, or you may say it as ALM. So that QC or ALM is a test management tool. So we would be uh, I'll be telling you about that later. So QC or ALM, you can have the connection from QTP to QC or ALM, where all your say results or your test scripts could be stored in the test management tool. You can fetch it from there, run, update the results back, see the results there. You have very good dashboards available in QC. So all those connections can be easily handled using QTP. Then you have web table methods. So during the demo, during our course, we would be having a look at web table methods and its demo. So you have web tables are nothing but the simple tables that you get in a HTML. How do you handle it? There are few default methods that are provided, so you can handle all of them. So now we would be going into the actual introduction about QTP. So before going in depth, so I would like to explain why we would actually require an automation tool. So going back to the applications, so basically there would be two different types of applications. One is a web-based and other is a desktop-based. To keep it simple, just consider two different types of applications. So what are the disadvantages with desktop applications is that desktop applications are completely your system based, meaning only one person can log in, and say it cannot be accessed by multiple users at a time. It also has hardware limitations because it is installed locally on a particular machine, and there is no way that you can access it from the outside of the machine. So that is actually a very problematic issue. So nowadays we usually see everything moving into the web. So all that you have is web applications nowadays, where everything is accessed over a HTTP protocol using some browser. So that is the reason you see many web applications in the market nowadays for everything. So you simply have a browser, you log in to the application and you perform your activities. So having web applications or desktop applications, but one thing is common is that you need to have a good quality software, meaning any kind of application you need to have or maintain a good quality. And how will you ensure that you have your application or software has good quality? Only by performing some kinds of tests on it, or rather validating it. So that is the reason why testing is actually required for any kind of applications. And since we are in an era where web applications are having very good market, so you have many automation tools in the market which focus on testing of web applications. Now we know we need to test the web application or software to ensure that it is of good quality and it can be used as intended. So how do you test it? So there are again different types of testing. Then but basically we would like to concentrate here or point out like what are the different ways of testing. So you can either do it manually, where a tester would sit and do every operation manually and see that this is doing perfectly, or this image is appearing, or whatever. He would be doing it manually. Or the other way is that you write a small piece of program and the system would automatically run it and do your validations. So the disadvantages with manual testing is that it is very time consuming. The reliability is less because humans are say error prone. You might make a small mistake and that might result in an error. So the results are also bit inconsistent. So these limitations could be easily overcome by having an automated test. So automated tests have very good speed because your program executes it and you will have the results within very less time. Then you will have a very good repeatability because you can run it for any number of times. You can make use of all the programming a capabilities, like whatever language you use, you can take full advantage of those capabilities and use it in your program. That will enhance your automation script quality. You can have a better coverage than manual testing here, because all you need to do is write a small piece of program. The reliability increases, the reusability also increases, because you can again define them into particular functions and do whatever. So as a result, it saves a lot of time. Now we know that automated testing is much better than manual testing. Now we need to know what are the test cases that we can automate. So we usually in the industry, we would be taking those test cases to automate, those test cases which are actually makes the deciding factor whether this application is good to be used by customers or not. So we would be taking those set of test cases which are very, very important. Like we would be taking the test cases which are used for sanity check, or the test cases which are used for regression, or the test cases which are executed repeatedly with multiple sets of data. These kind of test cases we would be taking for automation. And then there are multiple automation tools available in the market for doing these tasks, and I would be telling you what are the major advantages of QTP over those available automation tools. So now I hope you have a basic understanding about why do we do the automation, what is its purpose, and all those things. So we can start with QTP. So QTP stands for Quick Test Professional. It is an automation tool intended for doing functional and regression testing, which means it sees the application as from the perspective of a user. It actually opens the browser, logs into it, perform all the actions. This tool is provided to us by HP. So the vendor is HP, and the latest version currently available in market is 12.0, and it is under the name called Unified Functional Tester, UFT. So QTP and UFT you can call as synonyms, but there is a major difference between QTP and UFT. Till version 11.0 it was called as QTP, and from 11.5 and 12 it is called as Unified Functional Tester. The major difference, or you can say the enhancements made to UFT, is that it has all the features of QTP, which is used for functional testing, and there are additional functionality provided for API testing as well. So that is the only major addition to this version of tool. So you may call UFT as QTP plus method or function for API testing. So we would be calling it as QTP during this demo. So QTP uses test object model, where during recording QTP actually records all the objects and stores it in a repository. Those objects are called as test objects, and these test objects are actually compared with the runtime objects during execution. So we would be discussing about this in detail during our next sessions. So this complete concept we may call it as test object model. The QTP has one of the best identifying mechanisms for actually identifying the objects and storing it, and the complete process is very amazing. So if you by default QTP provides you the record and playback option, and if you want to enhance the script by using a scripting language, then you may use VB script. This is one of the easiest scripting language available, so it is very easy to use as well. QTP supports automation for most of the leading technologies. Like it has add-ins for applications built on Java, .NET, and any kind of technologies, most of the technologies. So not only web-based, so QTP also supports automation for desktop-based applications. So the major advantages of QTP is that it is very user-friendly because the user interface is so intuitive that you can easily understand whatever it wants to actually tell us, and it is very user-friendly. It can be used both by technical and non-technical users, because you have technical users can enhance you using the VB script. Even if someone does not have knowledge about VB script, you can still effectively perform your tasks using the record and playback option. It has an excellent object identification process, as I already said. It has one of the best object identification process in the available automation tools currently. It has very good concept of comparing test objects with the runtime objects, etc. It has very easy integration with test management tools like ALM, because both the tools belong to the same vendor, HP. So you can leverage all the most of the features provided by ALM, like having very good reporting dashboards, storing your test scripts, executing your test scripts from ALM interface instead of QTP, updating the results back in ALM. All these functionality are provided to us. It is useful for all kinds of GUI testing like web applications or desktop based. Script creation time is considerably less, because everything, whatever you record by default, is also available for you in the scripting mode. So all you need, if you really want to enhance script, all you need to do is just make some minor tweaks to your script in the other window that is available for scripting, and that's it. So, and you also have a very good reporting, and as I said, you can also leverage the advantages, the dashboard features of HPL. These are the advantages of QTP over other automation tools. So as you know, everything also has few disadvantages. The disadvantages of QTP is that it only supports Windows environment. So you can execute QTP tests only in a Windows environment. So unlike any other automation tool like Selenium, which supports multiple platforms, QTP doesn't. So QTP is not open source. It has some licensing costs, so you need to purchase the software in order to use it. And QTP does require some good amount of hardware resources. So the hardware requirements is also something that needs to be looked at. So now that we have some basic idea about QTP, why not let's just go into the tool and have a look at it. So I have QTP software installed. So let me just open up it. So when you start QTP, it lists out the add-ins that are available. So we would be recording a small test right now on a web application. So let us simply select web and click on OK. You can see right now, this is the interface for QTP. So now let us create a small test. So I quick click here on new button available in the test toolbar. Now it has opened up a test. As you can see, there are two views available. One is the keyword view and other is the expert, where everything is the test is actually displayed using the VB script. Now let me record a test. So I'll click on the record button. It opens up the record and run settings. You can run and record a test on any of the open browser, or you can set few restrictions, like once you click on record, you want to open a particular URL, you can select the browser that you want to record your test upon and click on OK. So as soon as I click on OK, it would launch the selected browser and will also navigate to the given URL. So now let me just log into this application. As you can see, all the steps are getting recorded in the background. Now I simply click on this, click on logout, and now I just want to close the browser. Okay, so you can go back, you can go to keyword view and see that all the steps are listed out here. So this is the hierarchy that you can see: the browser, dot page, dot element. So web edit is a text box. The password that is set is encrypted. So QTP has an inbuilt encryptor which would encrypt the given password. So here is the actions that we performed: set the username, set the password, clicked on login, and clicked on howdy admin link. And this is for sync. We would be seeing that later in the later classes, and we simply close. So instead of close tabs, close all tabs, you can simply call close, which would close the browser eventually. So you can go back now, stop the recording, say let me add a event, or say log statement which would go into the reports. So I would say, once this is done, my test is passed. I would say end of test, details. I would put it as end, and simply come up. Now I would run this test. It would ask you the location where you want to store the results. You can select a temporary one, or the location where your actual list resides. It has navigated. Set the username, password, click on login, click on howdy admin, close the browser. So execution is done now. As you can see, the execution is done. If you want to set anything else from the data tables, say there are two data tables available. You can give the username as this is, rename this as username. Give your username here instead of hard coding it. Double click here, click on this. So instead of a constant, you can select a data table parameter, which is username. So dynamically, whatever value you give it here, it would be added to your test during execution. So this is a simple test that we have just recorded, and as you can see, the reports appears at the end of the test. So you can see the test is passed. So this was the test that we have just executed, and it is passed. This is a very good tool to carry out your automation tasks, and hope you like this demonstration of QTP